Hello, welcome to the For Evansville podcast. My name is Adrian. I'm here today with Sarah and Andy from Azzip. We're super excited to just talk about the beloved pizza company from Evansville. So welcome. Thanks for being here. We just hope that this podcast will give you ideas, creative ideas, inspiration to not just live in Evansville, but be for Evansville. So welcome, Andy. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah. So
and I'm not from Azzip. I'm at Fort Evansville.
What?
You said Sarah and Andy from from Azzip.
Oh yeah, okay. Sarah's from Fort Evansville. Andy's from Azzip.
I love Azzip. So
yes. Well, I think that's what we need to start out.
Yeah.
Is like favorite pizzas from Azzip.
Oh, gosh, I mean, I think I like trying new ones, but lately I've just been getting the potato head, which I feel like such a classic.
It is.
Yeah, it's very
absolutely.
classic.
Absolutely.
Andy, we're gonna hear yours.
So my favorite pizza of the month is the White Lightning, which is our May pizza of the month with white barbecue sauce, smoked chicken, jalapenos, and more white barbecue sauce. I love the white barbecue sauce. So that's my favorite pizza of the month. Although I get our pizza of the month every month. But then if I'm kind of building my own, a lot of times I go with pesto and chicken and hot pepper blend, something like that.
That's good.
Dip it in ranch.
Yeah. I love
a big
the pesto.
sauce person, big sauce guy.
Yeah. I'm also a sauce person. So my go-to used to be pesto for a while because I would say it's my favorite pesto in town. It's so good. But I was just talking to you guys beforehand that Azzip is like the only place where I try something new almost every time I'm there. So I just had the new like Make No Mistake one, which is like a Korean
barbecue one.
And it was so good. Yeah, so good. But I feel like you guys are so innovative and you just won an award. Congratulations, by the way. How did that come about?
Yeah, so we won a menu innovation award for a national pizza magazine called Pizza Marketplace. Got first place against a bunch of other smaller chains like us, but also big national pizza chains and one-off shops. That a lot of people doing some cool stuff out there. Yeah. But got recognized for our Pizza of the Month program. So, like you said, the Make No Mistake is an example of that. The March Crabness is our most popular one by far, the Crab Rangoon style pizza of the month that we run in March. And it is such a popular pizza of the month that I think and along with some of our other really popular ones that impressed the kind of the judges on that, I guess. Yeah. And got us that top spot. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool recognition.
Yeah. So what happens when you win? Is this just like a recognition thing?
Brad had to say a few words. It was out in Vegas at the pizza show.
That's awesome.
Not a bad place to have it a award show / exhibition conference. But yeah, it was with a bunch of our peers. So definitely nice just to be able to build some of that network and talk to some of our peers in the pizza industry.
Right. So what got you into the pizza of the month, like trying those innovative flavors? What inspired you to do that and not just keep your normal ingredients?
Part of it was Chef Blake Kelker, who is our partner with Azzip, and he has such a creative mind around food. He's a professionally trained chef. He was the chef for Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Kenny Chesney, their tour chef, and traveled around with them cooking for a bunch of music acts out of Nashville. He was the executive chef at the Evansville Country Club, just a really talented individual, and he had some really fun ideas to be able to start that program off and just wanted to offer some variety. Yeah. Like just so give somebody a reason to come in and try something different. Yeah, and have something fun and fresh on the menu. And I don't think we knew from the beginning that it was going to be such a central part of our brand.
Sure.
Some of that just kind of evolved as we got into it more.
Yeah.
And just saw some of the success of them. The West Sider, the barbecue pork, and then having the Grippos and Ski, the two like if you talk about Evansville, like food products, like those are two just staples in the community of what people love. Like that creativity on that one just really gave Azzip its name right off the bat. Yeah. And it went from what was supposed to be a one-time like monthly special, and now it's on our menu permanently. Yeah. And we got to go share that with other parts of the state and introduce them to Ski and Grippos too. But it did evolve from that. The potato head you talked about being your favorite, that was our second pizza of the month.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that one ended up staying. We couldn't keep doing that forever, making everyone stay on the menu. So those two stuck around, especially because they had some common ingredients that we had on other pizzas. And And, but then it just has evolved. And it's something great to get people excited to come in. It gives us something to talk about, to talk to our customers about. And our customers they love being involved in that pizza of the month process and seeing what's going to be next. Like it's what I get asked about, probably the most if I'm like out in the community and somebody's talking to me about Azzip, and like we put out a survey just to trying to gauge some interest in, okay, would you be interested in this pizza of the month? And got 3,500 responses.
Oh my goodness.
Just like people want to give their input into it. They love it. It's such a central part of our brand now.
Well, I think you've created such a community pride, especially launching it with the West Sider, calling a pizza the West Sider, and everyone in Evansville knows exactly what that means. And then like the genius of putting Gripos on it and ski. That's so cool. But I did want to go back to the beginning. Like you said, in the beginning, you were making all these decisions. Let's start from the beginning. You told us that you weren't involved in the process at the beginning, but then you joined a couple of years later.
Yep.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So my brother Brad was the one that started Azzip. It came out of a class at Purdue where they had to develop an idea for a restaurant. He was in hospitality and tourism management. So we both went to Purdue. I was 2 years ahead of him. I did engineering. I graduated by that point and was working down in Tennessee outside Nashville. And he was taking some entrepreneurship classes, and he loved Chipotle and he loved pizza. So Azzip was his way to marry those two together. And he put that idea in for this class project, kind of refined it through that a little bit. And then Purdue host an entrepreneurship competition. And his professor encouraged him to put the idea into this entrepreneurship competition. And the grand prize for that was $20,000 to go towards getting your business off the ground.
Wow. And
I think like the last day before the application was actually due, he got it in and got into the next rounds. And ultimately he ended up winning the competition against a lot of other very technical engineering type of business ideas coming out of Purdue. But the judges really saw the simplicity and the possibilities with that idea. They understood it. They saw that there was an actual market for that and that it could be different. And so he used that $20,000, and it really provided a lot of validation for the idea for him, for my parents to be like, hey, you can go give this a shot versus go get a job.
Right.
What are you doing? You don't know anything about opening a restaurant. You're 22 years old. Like, what are you doing? But I think that was the sign of like, there's some validation, and this is a good idea. You should go give it a shot right now. Yeah. So that was kind of getting started. I was still down in Nashville as he was getting the first one opened, and just saw how much, like, when I came back and experienced it as a customer for the first time, I talked with him, helped him on a few things here or there.
Sure.
But I told my wife that, I want to be a part of this.
Oh,
they look like they're going to have fun. Like since he told me about it, I thought it was a great idea. And I just wanted to be a part of that journey and be a part of it with him. And so I was doing my MBA at Vanderbilt at the time. I'd gone back to school. And so after I finished that up, I moved back and joined Brad with Azzip. It was right about 2 years in then.
Okay.
Whenever I came on board and started helping full time doing HR and finance stuff at first, and still do some of that. But him and I, now share the co-CEO role. So we split up some of the duties in that regard.
Cool, great.
I'm curious, like you said that you were initially really excited, like when you heard about it, but like your younger brother has this idea and you're like, okay, cool. Like what were you really like just thinking this is an amazing idea initially when you heard from it?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I
didn't expect it maybe to go where it was going.
No, like I knew he had put a lot of work into thinking through the idea, putting the business plan together, and then that was just for the competition. And then afterwards, like getting the first one open, I knew he had put in a lot of work to try to find that right first location and to develop the menu. And Blake was helping him at that point to really pick out those products and refine that. So I think having that kind of food expertise did help him at that time. Yeah. But certainly it was really, I think it really clicked for me when I experienced it as a customer for the first time and just really was like, this really makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's funny. Like, and he wouldn't agree with me if I said this, but he was probably, if you talk to my parents, we have another younger brother too. He would have been the least likely one that they would have said to start the business probably. And now both of us work for him, as well as my mom has kept our books since day one. So,
nice.
And then Dad worked with us for a little bit too. So like we've all had a chance to kind of work together on Azzip.
Wow. Yeah, it's like a family business.
Be a part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Why the West Side for the first location?
He looked at other places. He looked actually up in Lafayette on campus at Purdue. He looked on the east side, kind of off Green River Road for the first one, and got turned down by somebody up in West Lafayette that the landlord didn't want a 23-year-old student opening a new restaurant business there.
Okay.
Saw it as too risky, and I get that.
Right.
But I think all of those were for a reason.
Okay.
I think the West Side, especially us being and growing up on the West Side of Evansville, that community support is really what helped Azzip get off the ground. Like without that, I don't know what would have happened if it had opened in West Lafayette for that first one, but it definitely wouldn't be what it is today. That kind of community support has been incredible since day one and is still incredible today.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
I'm a West Sider, so I'm one of those people where I'm like, you see it and it feels like that's ours. Like you feel like it's something. And even when you see other locations opening, you're like, oh, that's so great. But we started here on the West Side.
Yeah. It definitely is. It's a cool sense of pride that you have for any kind of homegrown Evansville business like that. Then you definitely root for each other, and that kind of like support like that has been. We love having that and love to share that love with those that have supported us in that way.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk to you about. I mentioned this when I emailed you, but I found in the old archives because I was trying to look for your, We Give Azzip program and things. And I came across this blog. I don't know if you wrote it or somebody wrote it, but obviously it's a blog. Somebody wrote it. But it just said that we believe that to be a good, valued member of the community, we can't just sell pizza. We have to give back. Would you just talk about your guys' heart for giving back to the community and why?
I think it does go back to like we have felt so supported. And I mean, we couldn't imagine operating a business in any other way. But the fact that it, can go both ways of us supporting the community supporting us, like that's just how we want to do business and how we want to act. And the We Give Azzip program has been incredible. Like I was looking, and since Azzip was started 9 years ago, we've given back like $365,000 to local organizations just through that kind of program, along with all the different sponsorships and other things like that of schools and other community groups. And so it's awesome to just be a part of the community in that way. And I was talking to you about how from a pizza of the month, that's something that's so central to our brand. The We Give Azzip element is the other element that I get constantly mentioned to me. That's what customers really appreciate, how we are and how we interact and integrate ourselves with the community. Like it was one of my proudest awards that we've gotten with Azzip is like Evansville Living. I think it was, I hope that's right. Recognized us as the best business at giving back, or their readers did. Like that in Evansville with all these other companies that do awesome things in the community, for them to recognize us in that way meant a lot to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like out of all the places in town, I see those We Give Azzip little slips of paper for everything. And so that's one of my kind of core thoughts when I do think of Azzip, is just always seeing those slips of paper of like, it seems like almost every day you guys are trying to give back to some organization.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. We love our, like, especially from a school partners that, and we love supporting the like youth and kids that, because they're going to be our future employees and team members making pizzas at Azzip and interacting with our customers. And it's great to be able to help out and support those organizations and help them to be able to educate the kids in a better way.
Yeah.
When you guys look at, the community and you say like getting connected to schools, getting connected to organizations and people in general, I guess like we talk a lot here at Evansville talking about trying to get people to just work together. Like, have you seen any, I don't know, just collaborative stories or things that have happened that just really stand out to you that you could share, either from past employees or maybe people that you've just connected with?
Good question. I mean, I think through COVID, like there was a lot of rallying around each other at that point.
Mm.
And from a lot of ways. And like I think back to, I'm a member at like Resurrection Parish, and Blake's a member at Corpus Christi, and how we work together with them, like to help do a joint, the fall festival was canceled that year. That was a big fundraising event for those organizations. And we helped them and use our, like, I guess, expertise in operating food establishments to set up in the parking lot at Resurrection, and to set up the systems in place to be able to operate essentially a drive-through fundraiser for the week, for Fall Festival week with them. And so that was just that was a cool collaboration of where we were able to use our kind of what we've learned from running a restaurant business to help those organizations and partner with them to help them still have a very successful, I think it was ultimately the most successful or highest, amount they've raised that week from even some of the fall festivals, the normal ones. It was a huge success, and it was cool to be able to help in that way and be able to partner with them and collaborate with them in that.
That's great.
That's really cool.
You guys, I know multiple friends, we always talked about Azzip had the best, I think, setup even during COVID, like being able to pull up, and the whole system just worked flawlessly. It was so great to be able to see that happen.
I'm glad it worked flawlessly for you. We weren't always that way.
Every time I did, I was like, oh, this is the easiest way to still be able to support local, be local. And and you felt like, we didn't know exactly what to do at the time, but being able to pull up and have that work.
Oh, it has not always been that way.
Okay.
It definitely, I mean, we didn't have it before COVID, like online ordering, curbside pickup. And we added it literally the week that we had to shut down. We had to add it. We were testing it at one store. So we had a little bit of knowledge about what we might need to do. But that first Friday, when we went, like our dining rooms were closed, we were only taking online and in-store orders. And talking about the community support, like they wanted to support us that night.
Yeah.
And we just got slammed with orders, and we had no process in place to manage those effectively and like give customers a good understanding of how long it was going to be. And the orders are just spitting out of the printer.
Oh, wow.
And it was telling customers the orders would be ready in 15 minutes. We had like an hour and a half worth of orders. The parking lot's filled up, and we just had no idea where pizzas were going. It was, I will never forget that night of trying to just learn on the fly and make some adjustments as quick as we could for the next night and the next week. And then it's just been kind of, iterative, trying to continuously improve and get better in that regard. But that was a rough night that I will never forget how humbling that was, because the community wanted to support us, and we just fell flat on our faces. We were trying to learn that process, but I'm glad it's worked great for you.
Yeah. Sorry to bring up that memory for you.
No, it's okay. It's good to share the failures sometimes.
Right.
Yeah,
We have come a long way. And it's definitely something we really take seriously, of being timely and accurate with those orders, and are always looking for ways to get better there.
Yeah. So I want to go back to what you said about especially supporting schools, because they're going to eventually be your employees. That's a really cool holistic way of looking at our community, of who are going to be our future employees, and thinking long term about supporting the community. Do you want to just talk about, just like kind of the holistic way that we, like, businesses can think about pouring into the community like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's one of the really unique places that I think Azzip can have an impact on our community. Is we employ a lot of 16 to 22-year-olds that are in high school, in college. For many of them, it's their first job. Or one of their early jobs that they have, and I see we have a really unique place to be able to help them learn what it's like to, how do you act and operate in a work environment? Like, what's it mean to be a team player in a work environment? You've had some of that exposure in class projects or sports teams, but what's that look like in the workplace? what's it look like to be accountable, to to serve customers and to have that customer service mindset, and what does that mean in a workplace? What does leadership mean in a workplace too? Like, because a lot of our shift leads that help run the shifts on a nightly basis are college kids, and they're getting that first exposure to leadership in that setting of setting expectations, holding people accountable. What happens when something goes wrong? How do you handle that? And so I love that we have the chance to do that, because whether an employee or a member of our team is going to stay with us for a long time. Yeah, I love when that happens. I love when they grow with us as we have more opportunities. But I also love when they, have other passions, and Azzip is a great job for them while they're in school, while they're in high school, college, but then they go on and become an accountant. They go work at Old National Bank. They go work, at Berry. They go, at any Deaconess in the healthcare field, like any of those partners in the community. Like, I love that we had a chance to, hopefully they were able to take some skills and build some skills with us that they can take on to those future employers. And hopefully they had a great time while doing it, that they got to experience a great work environment, and have fun and meet friends, all those kinds of things too, like that are part of that youth employment. And I it's one of the things that I love that we can do and connect with and have a purpose beyond just, making pizzas as well. So serving our teams in that way.
So I feel like my first jobs here in town were not like that. So what do you say that you would do differently? Do you provide special training? What's that look like for you guys kind of on a daily basis?
Yeah, one of my first jobs was lifeguarding at Burdett, which was it was a fun job. It was not a hard job. I'll say our team works way harder than I ever did than I did being a lifeguard. But definitely a lot of it comes down to training. A lot of it comes down to having the right leaders in place at the store that care about it, that want to coach, that want to develop, that value the same things that we do around coaching their team and helping facilitate that development. Just those are the biggest things, is having that really strong leader in the store that cares about those same things and that can pass that on and be that really positive influence, and then just giving them the opportunities and helping coach them, because that's how they're going to learn, is through that experience and making mistakes and being willing that those mistakes are going to happen, and just trying to help everybody learn from it.
Yeah. What hope do you see in the youth of Evansville through this experience?
So you hear sometimes like, youth today, kids today, like we have great team members. We really do. We have people that work really hard. They care about, making and serving our customers, like making them happy. Like, they care about creating a positive place to work, supporting each other. Like, I have a lot of hope for our future, for Evansville, for the broader, based on the teams that we're able to employ at Azzip. So I'm always impressed with some of them that are juggling multiple jobs, a full load at school, or sports schedule, and then or straight A students, and they also have a job at Azzip on the weekend. Like, they're working hard to set themselves up for success long term. And like I love the people that we get to employ at Azzip, and they get to be a part of our team, and that add a lot of value and add a lot for our customers as well. So it's pretty awesome to see.
It's got to be unique too, to think of being a college student and working in a place where someone who was in college had an idea. And so it's like to foster the opportunity to be thinking that way, and literally being in a place where it's like, this is possible for you to do something with an idea that you have.
Yeah, I think it helps that we're still relatable enough. We're still young enough that we can connect with our teams in that way. And Brad's story has always resonated with kids, and he does an awesome job of getting out in the community and speaking at to high school students, to grade school students, just telling his story, trying to be that, share that inspiration, because they can understand a pizza restaurant, like that's especially if so many of them that have experienced it and are huge fans of Azzip themselves. They love
Right.
love hearing Brad tell the story, and I think it does, like, they can see themselves a little bit in that, and gives them a little bit of inspiration to maybe pursue something that they're passionate about one day too.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah. Do you have anything you can think
I
of
think
right
so.
now?
I mean, I think I love those kinds of conversations and stories. And I was even thinking of like, I think as you're talking about different places, seeing maybe former employees go on and doing other things, that I think more and more employers in this area are going to look and say, oh, you worked at Azzip, and see that as a high regard thing, to be like, you probably learned some of these things. I think that's probably something you guys hope to and see and can be passionate about.
You're exactly right. That's what I want to happen, is that we become that employer that's we have such a reputation that if people see that on their resume, that they're like, that's a really strong signal that this is somebody that can be a strong leader, that's going to be a hard worker, have a positive attitude, be a great fit, and add to our team. So
Cool.
that's exactly what I want to happen.
What your hope is.
Yeah. And I hope you said that perfectly.
Well, I know one thing we wanted to talk about a little bit. I mean, as you think about people opening businesses, being business owners, entrepreneurs in Evansville, what kind of advice would you tell them? What kind of things would you tell people who are thinking about starting something new here?
I think so I'm going to give this from my perspective, because with not being the one that like started it originally,
Sure.
Brad took that risk and he had that idea. I never saw myself like doing an entrepreneurial thing growing up. Like that was never really, I didn't have anyone in my family that was necessarily that way. My dad worked at Mead Johnson for 30 years, was the plant manager there. And like, I saw myself being more in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And following that route. And so seeing Brad do that and seeing how much fun it looked like he was having, but then what the advice I would give is to don't be afraid of, even if it's not your idea, like it's not your, you don't have to be the founder to still play a big role in an entrepreneurial business and to help grow a new business. Like, and don't be afraid to take on those opportunities where you can still be a part of it and you feel a part of it, and you're helping still grow and create something that wasn't there before. It's just as rewarding, whether you're the founder or, the founder's brother and you're just trying to ride his coattails and have some fun while doing it. It's still like all those things and the rewarding elements that come along with that, they're still there. And so if you have those opportunities and it's something that you are also passionate about and can find a lot of joy in doing, to pursue it, and don't shy away from it just because it wasn't your idea originally.
That's really good.
Yeah. When you were saying that you first started on the West Side and that wasn't maybe your first idea, but you came back and said, but I think we were there for a reason, or you can kind of say that was a huge part of the success of Azzip is actually that location, which gave me the thought of it's a mutual relationship with the community. And so for entrepreneurs thinking like, you're not just going to start a successful business on your own. It's a relationship with the community. It's what community value can I provide? And then in turn, they're going to provide value to me because I'm invested in them and they're invested in me. And it's not like top down. It's just a community thing together.
No, you're absolutely right. I really think that every business, and I think a lot do, I really do think there's a ton that have that mindset. And especially in Evansville, it seems like, I guess I can't speak to other communities, but I do feel like Evansville has that mindset.
Yeah.
And a lot of the businesses in Evansville do engage with the community organizations. They're supporting the nonprofits in the community, supporting the schools. They're doing all kinds of things to help Evansville continue to grow, to continue to improve, to integrate themselves into the community. So I do feel I appreciate being a part of the Evansville community in that way, and seeing other organizations around us doing the same thing and being a part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I truly feel like you guys aren't just like you said in that statement that we are not just serving pizza. You're serving the community. You're providing community value. You're providing good jobs, good transferable skills for those students, pouring into people, but then also with the we give a Zip program, you're giving back to the community. And So just thank you. Thank you for Azzip.
Yeah.
And we truly do see you guys as more than just a pizza place. So thanks for being for Evansville.
Well, thank you for having me on today to talk about it and to share it. And thank you for being great customers and supporting us directly in that way too. So
yeah, I will say the other day my son was off school. He's 5, and I said, okay, we're going to have a special day. You get to pick where we go to lunch. He was like, I'm not going to tell you until lunchtime because you'll just be too excited. And I said, okay. So it came time for lunch. He was like, all right, we're going to Azzip. And I was like, yes. Okay.
You were excited.
He knew you. Yeah.
Well,
he didn't want to let you down.
Well,
That's
also,
something
I think
changed.
he's pretty like, it was like he came back because he likes the cookies. So it was really beneficial for him because we have not talked about your cookies. Like, is it the best part of Azzip? Maybe.
I think for a lot of people it is.
They're so good.
I'll admit that I don't like chocolate.
Oh.
So I have
interesting.
never had one of our Azzip cookies
Wow.
that are. Yeah. So
My life is a lie now.
I know.
Great. Thanks.
I live a little bit of a sheltered life in that way, I guess, that I haven't been able to taste one of them. That the first ingredient is chocolate. That's what I always tell people. So I think that's part of why they're.
Yes.
We had
So
one the other
delicious.
day, and I was like, I feel like it's mostly chocolate with some of the other stuff around it, and I'm okay with that.
Right. I'm
And you're
totally
exactly
okay with
right.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Andy, I just love hearing your passion for what you guys do, and obviously your passion for community and people. I think that's what I hear most is people. You have passion for people. I'm just really grateful that we have people in Evansville like you that are leading in different ways. So yeah, again, thank you for being for Evansville and being a part of this community.
No, thank you.
Hey, co-host Adrian here. And out of all the thousands of available podcasts, you're listening to this one because you love Evansville. Well, we obviously love Evansville too, but we can't tell these stories without the support of people like you. We want to give you the opportunity to partner with our storytelling work here at For Evansville. Your donation will allow us to continue to share these unique stories about how people are working together to make Evansville a place where everyone can flourish. And the cool news is right now we have a $50,000 match, so any gift you give will be doubled. So help us complete the match by going to forevansville.org/podcast partner, or you can find the link in the show notes. Thanks for being For Evansville.